Hello and welcome back to this series of how to make videos, which I hope will prove to be of interest to teachers and teaching assistants working in primary and middle schools. In a video I made several years ago at the start of this series, I showed how to make these windmills, but I used plastic straws to make them, and since then of course there's been a campaign to stop using them for ecological reasons that I'm sure we all know about. So I thought I'd revisit this project and see if I could make these windmills without using plastic straws, but with using paper straws. I'm going to show you how to make both of these designs. I'll just turn the fan off because it's probably picking up on the microphone. On my website, www.slstc.suffolklea.org.uk, there are also links for these videos, and by the link for this video I will put the .pdf templates for the two designs. Obviously with this one the PDF won't have Ivydale Primary School on it. So I photocopied the design onto thin card, and the first thing you do is we cut out the square shape. Doesn't have to be super accurate. I did this today with my after school D&T club. They're mainly year 3, and they didn't have any problem at all doing it. And I did it earlier in the week, both of them, with 60 year 2 pupils in a primary school in Brixton. Some of them needed a little bit of help, but most of them made a very good job. So after you've cut out the square, we've got to make these 5 holes. Now I have my trusty hole punch here, but even with this I can't make the middle one because it won't reach it. Now, but I know that most primary schools don't have tools like this, so let me show you how you can do it without a hole punch. You just need a sharp pencil and something soft to push the pencil into. I'm going to use this sponge sanding block. You could use a lump of plasticine. It's important to get this right. You push in from the print side just the very tip of the pencil, just so that it shows through. Then turn it over and push the pencil in more, almost to the end of the sharpened part of the pencil. I hope I'm explaining that right. Okay, but don't push the whole pencil through because that will make the hole too big. Why am I being so fussy about that? It's because I want all these rough edges of the card to be sticking out that way. If they came out this way, they would get stuck in the straw and the windmill wouldn't spin. Take a little bit more care doing the others because you're close to the edge here and it will rip, but it's exactly the same. You push in a little bit, just enough to see from the other side, turn it over and push the pencil in a bit more, and we carry on. When I went to the school to make 60, I did bring my hole punch with me because it does make a neater job, and I'd already made the centre hole for them. There we go. And then one more. I can make that hole a little bit bigger. So we push in a little bit from the print side, just the graphite part of the pencil, turn it over and then push in a little bit more so that you've got all the bits of card coming out the front. Then we're going to cut these 4 diagonal lines. Steer well clear of the hole, make sure you stop where the line stops. We did have 1 or 2 pupils that just happily carried on. There we go. You obviously could perhaps give them coloured pens or pencils to colour in their windmills. There we are. So now we've got to fix it onto an axle. Now in my first version I used 2 kinds of plastic straw. I used a jumbo straw, and then I found some other plastic straws and bendy straws that fitted inside really nicely. But we mustn't use plastic straws anymore, so we're going to use a paper drinking straw, and we're going to use an axle, which I forgot to bring, just bear with me. Here we are. And the axles are made of 5mm wood dowel. It's available from my supply service. It's available from most school design and technology suppliers. It's 5mm wood dowel, and the piece I'm using is roughly about 10 centimetres long. We just need a sanding block just to smooth the ends off. I'm holding it at an angle. It only needs a few seconds. I'm turning it just to take off the rough corner. Do the same the other end. And we're doing that to make it easier for the next step. We're going to push some rings on that I've made. And I've made these by cutting up some PVC tubing. It took me a while to find some that was just the right fit. It needs to be a tight fit on, but not too tight that the pupils can't actually push it on. So it did take a bit of research to find some tubing. You might be able to find some aquarium tubing, some fish tank tubing that fits the 5mm dowel. So we push on the piece of tube, and then get your fingers each side, your fingernails, and slide it down. My Year 3 D&T after school club didn't have any trouble doing that. Some of the Year 2 pupils needed a little bit of help. So I'm hoping you can see that the ring, you need to move it about 2 centimetres down from the end. We then put our windmill on with the print on the outside, and then we can start to thread each of the corners onto the dowel. Now do this very carefully, otherwise it will rip. Very gently. I don't think I had one single ripped windmill at the school. That's 1, 2. I must admit the hole punch did make a neater job. 3. Oh, and the first one's fallen off, but we're gonna do something to stop that happening. And the last one, 4. Now this one is being a bit stubborn. I'm determined not to rip it.
I'm just going to test the fire alarm.
Okay, there we are. There's our 4. We're now going to put the another ring on the end to stop them from falling off. Can you see that? Okay. Let's see if it works. Let's turn our noisy fan back on again. Pop it in a paper drinking straw, and as you can see, that's working really nicely. I've just been told that we're going to test our fire alarm here, so that will be exciting for you. So if you hear a siren going off in a minute, don't panic, it's just a fire alarm test here. We want to cut that straw a bit shorter. We need to cut it a little bit shorter to leave a little bit of the axle sticking out. So it needs to be about there. Let's give you a measurement. I know you love measurements. It's about 7 centimetres long. So slide it on, and can you see that I've got enough axle sticking out the end there? And to stop it falling out, we're going to pop another ring on the end. Just drop that one on the floor. There we are, and we just pop that other ring on the end there. Don't scrunch them together, leave a little gap so there's some play, so the whole thing will spin round. Let's just give it another test to make sure all is well. Ah, there's our fire alarm test. How exciting. Now to make it a bit easier to hold, we're going to stick this on top of a handle. I couldn't resist using Corex at some point. I use it in most of my videos. You could have used, of course, use a strip of cardboard. We're going to just pop it on top there. You need it sticking out a little bit at the back, and sticking out a lot at the front, so that there's plenty of room for the windmill to go round without scraping on the handle. So we just need a piece of sellotape to pop over here. I justify my use of Correx because sellotape lasts a lot longer on Correx than it does on cardboard. And there we go, there's our windmill on its handle. Yeah, that's working nicely. Now the other design, which I call a wind wheel, is really what's called a wind vane. Again, I photocopy it onto thin card. I think it's about 230 micron. And the first thing we have to do is make the centre hole. And once again, I can't use the hole punch because it's too far away. So we use the sharp pencil method. We push it in a little bit from the front and more from the back. Don't push the whole pencil through, you push it up to the shoulder. Then we cut the wind vane out. I think in the school we managed to make both of them in the 90-minute session. There we go. And then we're going to fix it on an axle in exactly the same method as before. A piece of 5mm dowel, about 10 centimeters long. Round off the ends. Slide on a piece of tubing. Push it on. Slide it down. You only need to slide it in about a centimetre for this one because it's quite a thin windmill. Pop it on with the colour on the outside. Then push on another ring on top and then push them together really as tightly as you can to lock the windmill to the axle so they turn as one. Once again, we're going to pop that in a straw, and the straw needs to be, to stop it falling out the straw, we're going to cut it a little bit shorter and put a ring on the end. So the actual mechanism is exactly the same in both windmills. We'll just pop a ring on the end. Now that's not going to work because we need to cut out the vanes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, stop cutting when you reach the inner circle. And then we've got to twist each of the vanes using our finger and thumb. We choose one of the edges, it doesn't matter which one, and just curl it up between your finger and thumb. Like that. Can you see that? And then we carry on, but always choosing the same edge. So just curl it round. 1 or 2 pupils needed a little bit of help, but I would have said 90% of them managed to do this by themselves. There we go. One more. You may have seen real wind vanes on farms, particularly in dry areas, pumping up water. They're very common in Australia and the United States. We'll just check it's working. Yep, that's fine. Turn our noisy fan on again. Now, it actually works a lot better in real wind. The air currents you get from these fans is not very linear. There we go, that's working fine. To fix this one, you could fix it on the other end, like that. I prefer to put it on the side, not too close to the top one, otherwise they'll bash into each other. Just move it down a bit, and then a piece of sellotape. You don't have to worry too much about it sticking out for this one. Piece of sellotape there, and there we have it, our 2 windmills working together on the same handle. So I hope you enjoyed our fire alarm drill, and I hope that you enjoy making this eco-friendly version of my windmills without using plastic straws. Thanks very much for watching.